Thank you very much, Zina. Firstly, congratulations, Rassie, on your 50th game as a Springbok coach. Rassie, what do you make of Fabian Galtier's antics only allowing us, the media and public, 50 minutes to view their training sessions? This, of course, comes after the media or the made accusations. There were spies around their training camps. Moreover, and I'm sure you saw the French league team that you made public on Twitter before they actually announced it. Does it somehow add to the mind games with Gautier being anxious and you living rent-free in his thoughts?
No, not at all. I mean, I know Fabian. I played against him. I think the last match we played at Parc de France or something. I can't remember the correct name. I played in that game and he was a scrum off there, so I know him for years. Actually, ironically enough, he came to well, not shadow. We had learned from each other at Munster. He shadowed us for a whole week and he sat in every single meeting, team session, planning, coaches meetings in the morning, and after that he became the French head coach, So, I think people take mind games from our side. Definitely, everything we do, people see it mind games. So, what I'm trying to do when I put a team out there, and if you check, I just put our team and our weights and our caps and stuff out there. That's for communicating with our South African supporters and for them to get a little bit more depth and insight into what our team looks like and how it compares to their team. And I think the South African supporters are really into it and understand it, and the more you give them, the more they, the more they understand. So what they do in their camp really doesn't have an influence what we do in our camp. We play for South Africa for the Springboks, and we play away from home, and it will be a lonely place on that field. But we know there's millions of people in South Africa, so what they do is got no influence on how we prepare and how we do our things.
Brendan? Stian?
Oh, thanks, Sina. Sorry. Hi, Rassie. So maybe just a bit about the selection, Rassie. Was this one of the more difficult teams to pick, given that so many guys are putting up their hands? And maybe just a thought about the front row with obviously Ox out, Bowen coming in there. Your thoughts behind that selection as well?
Yeah, I think very much. Hello. Very much the same like we did last week. I like Bowen has played already 5 test matches for us. And again, to put him there with Malcolm and Thomas, we'll rather let him swim in this tough river here, which is a great field where it's, I almost said it the same with Zach when he played last weekend. You'd rather have him there in the start and see how he managed. We really rate Bowen highly. It's unfortunate that we lost Jan Hendrik being suspended, and then obviously also lost Ox with off the ball tackle, and unfortunately he's out for quite some time. Luckily Gerard is back, so certainly there was difficult choices. Leaving a guy like Ethan Hooker out of the mix, who's been really playing well. Kanan is really also playing well for us. When Krappies got his chance, he played awesome rugby. Quagga and Marco was 2 guys. Franco played excellent last week. So it's never easy to pick a team, but I think the team do understand that the guys know if things goes according to plan this weekend. Most of the guys know who's playing next week against Italy. So I think the squad is buying in what we're trying to do. Most important thing is now to try and get the result at a very tough stadium against a very good French team. Zie dat hier langer kunnen gaan.
Zeker.
Ja.
Steven?
Thanks very much, guys. It's nice to see you. Quibus, obviously the emotion is quite heavy from France for this game, and I guess it's understandable, because of the quarterfinal. Is that, how do you guys handle that, what they're going to be throwing at you? Is that going to be tough for you to overcome, or do you take lessons maybe from the quarterfinal itself, where they were highly charged?
Yeah, I think they are going to be charged. They haven't forgotten about the 2023 World Cup, and so have we. We haven't forgotten about it as well. It's a rugby game which we all look back to. We all learn out of it and try and prepare for the following game. So yes, they're going to be charged up, but their emotion and what they have in their camp, like Rassie said, cannot affect us. It cannot affect our way of preparing for the game and putting our plan on the field. So we know they're coming physically or going to come physically at us, and we have to be ready for it. It's not it's not rocket science what is going to happen out there. It's going to be a huge battle.
Grant?
Thanks, Z. Russ, just a word on your 50th, Sia's 100th, and what you feel separates a good Springbok from a great one.
Yeah, my 50th is really not a big thing. I mean, we haven't even mentioned it. We saw it the other 2 days ago in the media. So, just to be part of the team for me is awesome, and part of being representing South Africa in whatever capacity it was in the past, from technical analyst to assistant coach to director of rugby. It's just really lucky to be in the Springbok environment with a lot of South Africans really behind us, so that's lekker. Sia's 100th test match, I think, there is only 9 guys that's played the 100th test match. I think he was on cap 25 when we picked him as captain. And yeah, the biggest thing that I can probably give him credit for, he's never always played brilliantly, because like all of us, your form dips and injury comes, and personal things happen to you, and sometimes you think of an injury, am I still good enough? Both World Cups he was doubtful right up until the World Cup, but he always sit with Cooper's at 35, playing probably 35 years old, playing probably the best rugby of his life, and so we're very proud of Sia. We're proud of being part of him reaching that milestone. But there's a lot of other guys that's close to milestones, who's on 47 caps, 48 caps, 93 caps, 97 caps. So I think there's a lot of them that's going to come now. But at the end of the day, like Sia handled it and like Eben handled it, when those big milestones come, if you make those things bigger than the match, then you normally tend to come second in that match. So his humbleness is something that's just a standout for me.
Mike?
And what separates a good Springbok from a great one?
It's understanding that, well, my opinion, of not to say I'm right, I think there's a difference between playing for yourself because you're a Springbok, and when you're playing for your country because you're a Springbok. And I think that's why some guys get 1-2 caps who's really potential, is really maybe better than guys who's sitting here. And we've said it to the player often, I think there's better players than playing out there who's currently here in the squad, but some guys just don't get it, that it's about the team and about South Africa and not about how good am I in the team. Yes, when you do it for the team to perform well and you do everything and you serve the team, I probably think that's the difference between, there can be great potential, but some guys just don't get it. I was one of them when I was a player on stage, and some guys it takes time to get it, and some guys just get it from the start. So I think that makes, in my opinion, the difference between a good and a great Springbok player.
Mike?
Rassie, you kind of answered what I was going to ask, but just, we've seen that these big milestone games can sometimes result in sideshows and distractions. Is that something you guys have discussed?
Yeah, so Eben got his 100th and Billy got his 100th, and we managed to get through those. Obviously, we're playing tougher opposition. Adi Savia's 100th at Eden Park, they managed to handle well and still beat us there with 7 points or whatever. So nothing has changed in our preparation. I think the only thing that will be different, Sia's going to run out 10 seconds earlier, and that's it. And then the test match starts. So we don't like to make a big thing about that. Afterwards, at the little team function, we'll probably do something proper. But no, Sia's probably one of the guys. I've seen him throughout winning World Cups and British and Irish Lions and reaching other milestones. He's got a level head on him, and the whole team understands that. Nobody's going to be happy. We might lose even if we perform well, but as long as we go out there and the effort is there and the performance is there, but yeah, that will definitely not distract us.
Last question online, Kaniso.
Thank you very much, Zina. Good afternoon, gentlemen at the top table. Quick two-pronged question, Rassie. Firstly, just to talk us through Kwaga's absence from the match day 23, and just talk us through Sia the human being. Just Sia, not the rugby player, but Sia the human being.
Yo, I don't know quite what more to say about Sia as a human being. Yes, to sum it up, hopefully I get it across this time, is just his way to stay humble. You know, when there's photographs taken or at the airport or wherever, he's always the guy that still goes there, even though you're on your way to a flight or late for a meeting, or you must get into the lift to a team meeting. You know, he might be a minute or so late, but I think whenever he gets a chance, he tries to connect with South Africa because he understands what South Africa is about, and he's been on the tough side of being a South African, and he's grown into being one of the great leaders in South Africa. But just the humbleness with the way he does that, and the way he always has time from a young lady to an old woman off the farm, or uncle there from the townships, or old lady at the airport. Our whole team, I think, is pretty good at that, not because they think it's their job, it's because they enjoy being part of South Africa and the way that South African supports us, and I think Sia leads in that specific way. What was the other part of your question, sorry?
Kwagga, his absence from the 23.
Kwagga has a bit of a hand issue, but that's not really why we didn't pick him. He actually came through in the beginning of the week. He had a bit of a contusion, or I don't know what's the right English word, on his hand, on his palm, on his wrist.
Yeah.
But we just think with the team we thought they are going to pick, we think this is the best team for us to have a 5-6-2 split. But if this is a game that we feel is going to be really fast, they've got have some young guys in the team. Kwagga certainly has that energy, but we feel safe in Andre covering 12 for us as well, and covering 6 for us, and we know Sia can move to 8, or Peter Steff can move to 8 in the game for us. So Kwagga understands why this team, we think, is a team which we're going to try and beat the French with.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys. I'll be sending out the recording after the news conference. Thank you very much. Cool. Questions from the floor?
Rassie, you've covered almost everything that I wanted to ask, but just interesting to note, the way Johan Grobler has come up again, moving up and doing so well. Earlier in the year, Marnus was the guy that you guys preferred, and would you say that Johan is maybe the guy that can step into that deputy role under Malcolm?
Yes, and I think, when you look at the way that we've done things, we've given Andre Hugo a chance, and he certainly didn't disappoint. We won that game against Portugal, so he's there. We always have Bongi in the back of our minds, and know that when there's crunch games, we can press on his number. Yes, we got a few caps into Marnus, and we played against the All Blacks of Marnus, and Marnus had one of the last turnover steals there. We know Malcolm can get injured at any single time. We've got Jan Hendrik who can play loose hit and hooker for us, so that's 5 already. And again, we are trying to stay in the present and win, but we also want to think about the future, about the 2027 World Cup, and these kind of games builds confidence for players to make just another step up and another step up. And we've tried it with most of our players. It's always, first maybe a tier 2 team, then maybe just a good team that ranks 7 or 8 in the world, then maybe into a pressure cooker, and then maybe one onto the bigger stage like the French. And with him having Gerard and Wilco next to him, which he scrums with all the time, and then Ruan coming off the bench with Ergia, he's pretty used to those guys. So and he's 27 and he's really fit, and he's done nothing to disappoint us. So maybe just get through this game, then we know we've got 5-6 hookers that we can maybe bank on when we go to the World Cup.
Rassie, why did you decide to ask Andre Terrorism to move with the forwards? And when he's on the bench, how would you define the split? Is it on Saturday 5.5, 2.5, or?
No, well, the bad thing for Andre was that when he was just covering 12, for him to get in match day 23, we had Damien Dalende, Damien Willems who can play 12, Andre can play 12, Ethan who can play 12. There's another one, Sasha can play 12, Lucanio can play 12. So for Andre to make the match day 23 with his athleticism, if that's the right word, and physicality, it's either he starts, because you seldom put a 12 on the bench to cover just 12 for you, So it just gives us that option that, surely he's played all his life 12. But we've slowly now again, first at a tier 2 level team, give him a trial then against the Barbarians, a step up against Japan, fully going into 6, and he's now used to all mauling in the line-outs, line-out calls, those kind of things. So I guess if the game goes according to what the French, I think, plan, which is a 6-2 split of massive men, we'll probably need him in the forwards, but if there's a early injury at 12, he'll probably go to 12. So that's just the option that really helps us, and that's probably why a guy like Kwagga misses out, where if Kwagga was playing, we've taken some chances where we got a wing injury and Kwagga had to help us out, which he did wonderful, but now you've got a true backline player who can play 6 and 8 for you.
Rassie, you posted on X this morning the France team that's trained all week. It's created a bit of a fuss, but because France train with bibs on all week and kind of know what the team is, how useful has that been for you this week?
Yeah, and again, as I say, people try to create beef between us and France. Beef means like ructions, like unhappiness. And we remember in 2022 when we played here, when the TMO, the screens went off and Wayne Barnes couldn't see, and Kwagga Dion got a yellow card and Peter Steff got a red card, and we lost that game in the last minute. So we enjoyed that whole situation. We understand the whole thing. We enjoy the franticness, if that's a word, of French supporters and how they get into it. And please don't just take that part, the franticness, that please quote the whole thing. We say we enjoy that. We love the passion in which they do it. And that's why when I follow on X or on Twitter somebody, a team, it's to see what they post. You get some stuff out of that. And well, it's not difficult if you see guys running with bibs on, with the number on the bibs to guess the team. And again, that's not to... People see everything as mind games. It's to communicate with our South African supporters. So that's what we think they're going to pick. We're going to announce our team this afternoon. Here's our team, and I put our team out there. It's really not to fluster other people. It's us as South Africans talking to each other.
Rassie, and maybe Cobus after the same question to you. The Springboks have a very good record at Stade de France. They played 13 games there, won 10. Across 3 World Cups as well. So you even won 1 game, I think, as a player in 1999. Do you feel comfortable in this stadium, and what are your memories of the game against England in 1999?
Yes, was that where Jannie de Beer had all those drop goals? Yeah, that I remember clearly. We were way underdogs there, and Nick came up with a plan, and Jannie just slotted every single drop goal. I don't think we outplayed them, we outkicked them. I just think the game is massive, and we want to enjoy this game which is going to throw to us tomorrow. Of course, Fabian is a great coach. I know Floxel here. The manager played against me. Marchant is an awesome person, and he gets them. Ibanez, I know pretty well. The stadium is 100 meters by 70 meters. It's the same wherever you play in the world. I guess it's the cauldron of what the spectators do and how the French crowd get behind their team, and that pressure either gets to you as a team who's playing here away from home, or it gets to the 2 ARs or the TMO or to the referee. And we had meetings with the referee, the same as Fabian had, and we all just want to go out and play good rugby. So, the stadium, Ellis Park, we've won there many times, and the Australia went and gave us 37 points, and we didn't even score bonus points. So history is sort of something that we don't try to look at, because if you just look at these 2 teams, it's going to be one hell of a test match, and that's what we prepare for. We've got fond memories, yes, of winning that match, but it's a new game with other players, some that we don't know really well we're playing against, and it was difficult to profile them. There's 4 22-year-old guys in the team that we don't know really well, so we try and isolate every game as a new game, and but it's a wonderful stadium. We're really looking forward to a brutal clash.
Cobus, you've played in France for a long time. Probably speak French as well. I don't know. Let's just talk about the game. You know how the French play, and we haven't really spoken today about what is expected from them. What do you think they're going to bring?
Yeah, I played here for 5 years, and I think it's the top 14 is one of the competitions that there is no off week or you can switch off, because even the team that comes up from the Pro Leader is a team that will beat you on any given day. So with the amount of players they have and just every game being hard, we know what's coming this weekend. It's going to be tough French guys running hard, running straight. They are big, so it's going to be confronting. And like I said, it's in a stadium that's like a pressure cooker. So it's going to be their team versus our team, their plan versus our plan, and then the pressure cooker. So we're going to have to see who can handle that pressure the best.
Rassie, the last time you guys played at Stade de France, you won a second straight Rugby World Cup. What are your memories from that game, and how can that game and that event help you in Saturday's game?
The one against the French.
The one against New Zealand.
One against New Zealand. All of those games were 1 point, man. Since it was 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, and when I watched back at some of those clips, I sort of can't even remember that we went through those emotions in there. Because, look, I put sometimes my heart rate monitor on and I check myself during a game, and people like to be calm in the coach's box. I don't like to be calm in the coach's box because it's nerve-wracking, and I remember that game. I remember the one in 2022. I know that was not at Stade de France, but it was such enjoyable. The director of rugby was still allowed to sit next to the field, and it was such an enjoyable game because it was frantic and it was busy and the crowd were so. Yeah, players and coaches always say you want to be at this level. That's why you work to be here, and we really feel that way. You know, it's an iconic stadium. We've done well there in the past. But things change quickly. So for us, it's apart from being, I'm hell of a nervous for the game. The players are nervous for the game. I'm sure the French are also a bit nervous for the game. But it's also very nice to be part of something like this.
And Fabian said this morning that this Springbok side is probably or maybe the best team ever. What does that mean to you to hear that from someone who you know quite well?
Well, if it's honest, then it's a nice thing. If you want to take the pressure a little bit off them and put it on us, that I also understand. There's all of those things count in a game. But we know if we man these guys with our man for man with their guys, and everybody plays to the best of their ability, this game is in the balance, both sides, you know. So we know Duponte's not here, but we know that even Luku, who's coming off, Serene is even a guy who didn't make the team. So their squad depth and what they did when they sent their team to New Zealand and what they are building there, I think it's very much what we're trying to do of bringing youngsters through. So it's a nice compliment, but those guys who's playing here tomorrow, they won't believe that we're the best team in the world. They will go out there and try to beat us proper. So appreciate what he's saying, but we'll keep the reality in our minds.
Rassie, when you decided to call back Ntla Bakanye, did you take in consideration the backlash it could create, or more the benefits that the Springboks could have to have him back in camp?
Yeah, well, you know, the tough thing is with somebody who's not found guilty in an ongoing investigation or suspension, he's not suspended. And I think his hearing is early. I'm not sure. I might talk out of my way. I don't know the detail. You don't know. I don't know exactly what happened there. And you know, until a guy is not guilty and there's protocols in play that say he can still play, and he's then going to go through, I don't know what you call it, tribunal, or what's the right English word for that. Yes, certainly. I thought there was a time when we should just help him a bit and let him stay out of the limelight, because that's something really emotional and it's hard on somebody that's worked so hard to be here. And the circumstances on what it happens is for the people to discuss there. We did get lose Ox, and we did lose Jan Hendrik, and Thomas can swim tight head and loose it. And if people want to make a big fuss about it, again, it's our camp, what we believe in. And maybe next year, February, we'll all go, we should have played him, the guy's not guilty, it's an ongoing hearing, and maybe that's the most I must say about it.
Thomas, this is your first time back in France as in Montpellier. What did you learn from your time in Montpellier as a person, and how did it evolve and improve your game as a player?
Like I said, being here, it's tough. The language, the culture, all of that. So it takes you out of your comfort zone. It makes you grow as a person, as a player. You have to figure out what the guys are saying on the field and all of that, and react on the spot. And I think that shows a lot how the French play as well. They very instinctive, and the jouet and all of that, all the flair comes out, and it's because they just react on a situation in front of them, and they go. So that it teaches you how to do that, but it also teaches you how to stay vigilant for that when you come up against it. One thing I have learned about the French is the culture is very emotional, and that is something we know they're going to come out with. 2023, all of the history behind us now, the emotion is going to be there, and French with emotion is dangerous. So yeah, it's something we have to stop, and stop early.
Any further questions?
Maybe just add, if I can, not for the story, but when I was growing up, the teams we looked up to, because there was a bit of an isolation, but I can tell you Frank Manel, Philippe Sella, Blanco, St. Andre, he's a bit later there, but all of those guys, Caban, those were the guys that we always thought the way they played the game. It's funny because we didn't get to watch Premiership rugby, and we watched New Zealand rugby and French rugby, and from Sir Intermax father even, those were the guys that we watched. We didn't get a lot of time to watch the English teams or the Irish teams. Like a guy like Paul O'Connell is iconic, but we didn't see him as much. For some reason, we watched French games and New Zealand games. So apart from all the rivalry, everything going on, we've got a hell of a lot of respect for the way the game has always been played here.
And what's Afrikaans for jouet then?
Jouet is have fun, play. Have Afrikaans, speel net. Gooi die bal rond. Okay. Thanks.
Do you think the respect between France and South Africa is also because of both teams are putting the emphasis on their physicality, and they love their scrum, their forwards are so important to each of them? Do you think that explains a little bit the respect between both of you?
Yes, for us, when France stop them all, they don't stop it technically, they stop it with power. They don't swim around and hang here on the other side. I know even they referee it that way in the top 14. They enjoy scrums, they enjoy the physicality part of the game. And when some people sometimes claim to some things against the spirit of the game, it's almost like the French look at the game like we look at the game. And sometimes it makes you nervous because everybody's saying we are big guys, but when you go and look at it, Olivier Merle, I remember playing against him, the guy who broke my jaw. There's so many massive men of them. Le Romain, Lacroix, he's not a big guy, but he played in France. Michelak, all of those guys, who we know them, and hell, they're tough, man. They're tough and they're big, and we go and look at their weights. I think there's a kilogram on average between the two teams, and it's massive packs. We enjoy the way they play.
Have any of you two watched the quarterfinal again this week?
I watched the last 7 minutes, but I put it off. It was not the nerve-wracking.
You watched it. Did you whisper in Cheslin ear to do something again?
Yeah, well, I'll be in his ear the whole game, so did watch it. Was like a get to into the right mindset.
Cool.
Thank
you
you,
guys.
thank you.
Thank you very much.